Have you ever noticed how logging into your streaming service is super easy? You just type in a password, but getting into your bank account feels like you're trying to break into Fort Knox? It's all about your digital identity, and we're going to break down why it feels so completely different from one website to the next. So, what's the deal with the difference? One app wants a password, another one needs a code from your phone, and a third might even ask for a face scan. It can feel kind of random, right? But it turns out there's a surprisingly logical system behind all of it. This right here is the best way to think about it. The internet is like one gigantic building with a ton of doors. Some doors, like for a library, just need a basic lock. But the bank vault inside, whoa, that needs something way, way stronger. It's all about matching the lock to what you're trying to protect. Now, you might actually be surprised to hear that there's a real rule book for all this. It's not just every company making it up as they go. There are official guidelines that help organizations figure out exactly what kind of security to use. And that rulebook comes from NIST. That's the National Institute of Standards and Technology. They created this standardized framework so that every organization has a solid playbook to follow for building online trust. They're not just guessing anymore. So how does this playbook work? Well, it's all built on three fundamental pillars that work together. We can call it the identity trinity. And once you get these three functions, you'll basically understand your entire digital life. Okay, first up, identity proofing. This is that one-time setup process. When you sign up for a new service and they make you upload your driver's license or answer some obscure questions about where you used to live, that is identity proofing. The service is making absolutely sure you are who you say you are before they even think about giving you a key. Next is authentication. Now, this is the part you do every single day. It's just you using your key to open the door. And that key could be a password you remember, a code on your phone that you have, or even your fingerprint. That's you authenticating. And finally, there's federation. This one is all about making life easier. Anytime you see one of those sign in with Google or log in with Apple buttons, that's federation in action. You're basically using one trusted master key to unlock a bunch of different doors all over the web. It's super powerful, which is also why it has its own set of really strict security rules. Okay, so we have these three core functions, but how do they actually build trust? Well, just like real-world locks, these digital functions, proofing, authenticating, and federating, are not all the same. They can be dialed up to different strength levels, and it all depends on what's at stake. This system breaks down trust into three assurance levels, and they're rated from 1 to 3. You've got IAL for identity proofing, AAL for authentication, and FAL for federation. In every case, level 1 is kind of like your basic padlock, while level 3 is absolute maximum security. To really get a feel for how this works, let's just zoom in on the authentication assurance levels, or AAL. This is the one we all deal with the most, and it does a perfect job of showing the difference between that simple padlock and a full-on bank vault door. AL1 is what we call basic confidence. This is for your low-risk accounts. A single password is totally fine here. I mean, think about it. You're not protecting state secrets. You're just protecting your movie queue. The whole point is just to stop the most casual snoops. But at AL2, things get a lot more serious. This is for high-confidence stuff, like your email or your bank account. It requires multi-factor authentication. You have to prove two different things, something you know, like your password, and something you have, like a code that gets sent to your phone. This is a massive leap in security. And then you've got AAL3, very high confidence. This is the digital Fort Knox. It requires a physical hardware key, one of those little things you plug into your computer. The secret key is locked onto that device and can literally never be copied off of it. This is the ultimate defense against phishing. Because, let's be real, an attacker can't steal a key that physically never leaves your pocket. So how does a company actually decide between AL1, 2, or 3? It's not just a gut feeling. They have to follow a formal process to analyze all the risks and pick the security level that's right for the job. And this process is really deliberate. First, they define what they're trying to protect. Then they ask, what's the real-world damage if this gets hacked? Only then do they pick a trust level. And what's really crucial, it doesn't just stop there. They're constantly tweaking things for user experience and privacy, and always reevaluating, because online threats are always changing. So let's bring this all home. This isn't just some abstract theory. This system is quietly running in the background of your digital life every single day, protecting everything from your watch list to your wallet.
And here's exactly how it plays out in the real world. For your streaming service, the risk is super low, so basic identity proofing and a simple AAL1 password is all you need. But for your bank, the risk is sky high. And that's exactly why it demands tougher IAL2 identity proofing when you sign up and AAL2 multi-factor authentication every single time you log in. It's the system perfectly matching the lock to the risk.
And, what's really important to remember is that the goal isn't just to add more and more locks for the sake of it. As NIST themselves say, it's about balancing all that security with a good, streamlined customer experience. I mean, the best security in the world is totally useless if no one can figure out how to use it.
That's really the big takeaway from all this. The reason your digital passport looks so different all over the web is completely by design. Smart security isn't about building bigger and bigger walls. It's about building the right wall for what you're protecting. And all of this leads to a really fascinating question. With things like digital wallets and mobile driver's licenses becoming real, the lines between our physical and our digital selves are just getting blurrier and blurrier. So what does the future of proving you're really you even look like? That's definitely something to think about.